Just give me 1 second. What's going on, people? My name is Gene, and this is the Feed a Model, where we focus on getting better and capture models that feed your eyes and nourish your soul. I'm talking about food photography and film, as well as product photography and film. Welcome back to my returning subscribers. One time for my first time viewers. You could have been anywhere in this YouTube world, but you're here with me, you're here with us, and we appreciate you for that. So let's get right into this behind the shot. Today we are shooting a very fun, vibrant, pop art-esque type of shot. It's gonna be a dope flat lay image on a nice, very solid, colorful background. I've been seeing a lot of this style on the gram lately, campaigns, different brand campaigns. A lot of clients are requesting this type of imagery. It's not really my style, but I'm never afraid to try different styles and experiment and see if I can come up with my own rendition, dig into my own creative bag and pull something from the different styles that there are to photography. You should never box yourself in. Photography is art, film is art, and you should always push that right side of the brain to expound and just build on the different things that inspire you. So that's what we get into. Traditionally, the lighting would be very soft, the shadows would be very soft, and you would have a bounce to lift up some of the shadows on the opposite side of your light source. This style of photography is the true opposite of that. You want hard, harsh lighting, you want bright lighting. You want your shadows to be very profound and just highly visible. You want the lines of your shadows to be there. So we're not going to be using any diffusers, any type of light modifiers to soften the shadow, because that's what we want. We want a hard shadow. We want a very high contrast image, and we want it to be poppy. Pop art is basically that. It's very techy in color and just very contrast. So you have a bright color, very dark color, which is going to be your shadows, and very artsy type of vibe. So we're gonna be working with some cookies and milk today. I kind of had this idea. Let's see how we can bring it to life and put it all together. First thing first, you want to pick your backdrop. I got these 12 by 12 sheets, or you can use whatever backdrop you want. Preferably you want to use a solid backdrop, unless you have some type of pattern that you think would play well into the creativeness of what it is you're shooting. Blue, I'm gonna try a few different colors. I'm gonna try blue, yellow, I might even try this gray. Usually I would go with a bright color, because the darker the color, it's gonna hide your shadow and it won't be as profound. So you want to go bright, but for some reason I feel like my brighter colors ain't quite hitting the way I want it to hit. So I'll pull out pink and orange too. Since I'm gonna be using a liquid, I'm gonna be using milk and putting it onto the surface. I'm gonna put this glass over my piece of paper. It's gonna allow me, for one, to change out the color a lot easier without having to redo everything. And for two, it's also gonna allow me to put milk on here and not saturate the paper. And you can pick these glasses up at Home Depot. They sell window replacement glasses. This actually came from a picture frame, or you can get a bigger one. I have a bigger sheet here that's I think 24 by 36. So and they're not that expensive. Just gotta be really careful. Tape the edges. The first few days that I had it, I didn't have the corners taped, and I caught a couple knuckle cuts. So just keep that in mind when you're working with the glass. So let me clean this up real quick. I got some smudge from the last shoot, and I'll set it up and show you what that looks like. Now in the last video I spoke about using natural lighting. I find that if you're gonna be using like the sun coming through your window, you're at the mercy of the positioning of the sun, the movement of the clouds if it's a cloudy day, and just the overall time. You know, as time goes by, things shift. The light source moves, drifts. So you're gonna be moving against a lot of odds. So it's best to use artificial light. You can use a flash like I'm gonna use here, or you can use a continuous light. Here's what the backdrop is gonna look like. That's my first color here, and you can see how the shadow's coming in from the window. So my flash is gonna be somewhere around here, or directly to the side. I haven't quite decided yet. All right, so I'm just gonna drop these cookies anywhere for now. I got my creamer here, which is gonna be my milk. And I got my dropper tool. This is so that I can sample some colors and drop it right there. All right, not really. All right, so real quick for the lighting, let me show you what I'm doing here as far as lighting goes. So here's what I'm using. I'm using this GOTO 600 flash, TT600, not the other one. This is a very entry-level flash. It's easy to use. It doesn't have TTL. It's a good starter for anyone who wants to start learning how to use flash. I've only been shooting flash for about a year now. Before that, it was mostly continuous lighting. The important thing is to find balance between being too bright and not bright enough. So I'm gonna have this about 3 feet away, 4 feet away, and turn the brightness up a little bit till I find that nice balance. And also what you want to take note is the height of the light. The higher the light and the more downward you're pointing it, the tighter the shadow is going to be. And you'll have to find a balance of what you like aesthetically. If you bring the light low, more level with the plane of what you're shooting, you're going to get a more dramatic, a more stretched out shadow, because now you're hiding more of the light. The cookie is blocking more of that light and creating a longer shadow. I like it to be kind of like a half and half. You also don't want it to intersect with anything else on the sheet. It can be too much of a shadow that it doesn't look appealing, but it's up to you and what you like and what your client wants at the end of the day. So just find that balance. All right, also I am shooting with the Canon 80D Sigma 1835, and I'll be firing the TT600 with the GOTO X Pro remote trigger. I have the camera rigged up on a C-stand, which is going to be shooting directly above, creating this flat lay image. No bounce. That's it. Alright, so the heavy cream is a little bit too thick. It's not creating that splash that I want as high as I dropped it. Didn't want to use just regular milk because I didn't want it to be as transparent. I figured the heavy cream would be a nice opaque white, but I guess I'll just have to fix that in post, which isn't a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and drop some milk to see if that looks better. Another reason why using glass over your color backdrop, easy cleanup. If that was directly on the paper, I would have been screwed. I would have had to swap that out and throw it away or whatever. So let's see what this milk do. There we go. I'm thinking maybe if I do just one cookie, let's see what that looks like real quick. Alright, so that's how that looks. I'm gonna drop the light down just a little bit, kind of extend that shadow somewhat. So I'm gonna work on the drops a little bit, and then I was thinking of adding a cup of milk and then have the bitten cookie. So one cookie or maybe a stack of cookies, the cup of milk, and a couple drops. Let me see if I can get the splash to look. Alright, so I just figured it out. The idea is to add some velocity to the splash. So maybe I can try it with the cream. If I kind of force the drop versus just pressing the bulb and letting it drop, it changes the splash. Alright, let's work with that. This will be the one that's bitten, and I'm gonna get a cup to put right here. So I got my cup of milk. Also, I'm gonna change this background. This pink is starting to work on me a little bit. I think it'll look a lot better with, I'm gonna go with the blue. See what that looks like real quick. Alright, so far I've done a couple things. I'm just trying to find this pocket of satisfaction. I think I'm gonna change the background color one more time. I like the orange. So right now I'm at this place where I'm not super thrilled with it, but it's working. See, in the overall concept, you're seeing the hard lines, you're seeing the vibrancy of it. It's just a matter of getting into post and touching it up. But I want to try something a little different. I think I'm going to elevate the cup so that it's a little closer to the camera. Maybe suspend the cookie as well. One of them, the one that was bitten, sort of like, it's kind of like floating somewhat. I think I'm going to do that, but let me try that real quick. Let me set something up, and then we'll see what that looks like. So first thing first, I'm going to use a shot glass. This is going to have to be shot in multiple sets here. Let me get a fresh start. I think I'm going to keep the orange. I like the way the orange looks. Actually, let me check out some of the colors real quick. Alright, so we're gonna go with orange, and let me square this up with some real estate, and then I'm gonna use this shot glass. The idea is to have different planes. Whether or not it's gonna work, I can't tell you, but that's the idea. So I'm gonna stick this skewer into this cookie and kind of have this cookie up here. Have some crumbs down there, and have some cookies here, and this splash of milk somewhere here. That's the idea now. Alright, so this is awkward. I don't feel like moving the camera, but I got another plan, another idea, another vision. I didn't like the cup straight on, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hot glue it onto this and then have it on an angle. Hopefully it doesn't break off. And then I'm gonna stick it into a foam block and have it like this, the cookie over here, and then the cookies down here. That's the plan. Last one, final round, If this don't satisfy me, then it's always next time. So I'm waiting for the hot glue to warm up and then we'll take it from there. Right now I got my first layer of hot glue in. I can show you this, but then I spilled the milk. So what I'm gonna do is add my second layer of hot glue to kind of seal it. I seriously don't know where I would be without this thing, man. This is like, you don't have a hot glue gun. I highly, oh shit, I'm losing some glue. Highly recommend that you get one. If you've been following me, you'll see that it was part of the 5 things that you didn't know you need. Food photography. All right, I'm making a mess now. So, like I said, it's highly recommended. I got kicked on a little too much glue on the bottom. I'm gonna let that set up a little bit before I start handling it from the pixie stick. Can't really set it down, but this is more promising. Also, I might have to set up a second flash so that I can have a light focusing on that, or just move. Maybe I'll just move it around. I had to dump the milk so I can do this properly and set everything else up while it cures. Started making a mess. I'm wasting hot glue. All right, so here's what the bottom looks like so far. You get your base glue between the 2 objects and then you create a straddle around it. So once it dries, it can hold it up nice. I've had a few things break off and fall before, so. Alright, so I got multiple points of glue on this thing, so I'm hoping that it doesn't snap off. So we gotta move quick. Gotta be careful not to shake the table too much. So if I get that in here like this, move the cookie up. This is where working with a small backdrop has its drawbacks, because now real estate is an issue. Alright, so now I'm limited on where the light can come from, because if I hit it for the side, the foam block is going to eliminate some of it. But let's see where we're at with it the way it is now, which is going to be directly this way. Alright, let's do this. I ended up taking 2 shots. While I was pouring the milk, it kind of ruined the splash. Good thing I took a shot before pouring the milk, so I can use that to mask it in. I'm gonna try for a color change just to see. I don't know if it'll hold up for a color change. Okay, so I got the color change in. Let me put this cup back here. This is what happens when you get greedy. Cup fell off, it didn't break. I actually kind of like that. Let me take a shot of this real quick. All right, so that about wraps it up. About to clean up and step out for a bit, and then I'll come home and edit this. This was fun. This was fun. I hope you were able to get something from this. You know, I'm just showing you my process and how I go about doing things and the visions that I have. Feel free to experiment. Do things however you see fit. Do things that fit into your style, your way of thinking, your creative style. You know, always strive to be different. This is pop art, food photography. This is using very bold, vibrant colors, having very harsh, hard shadows and lighting scenes, and it's always nice to experiment and try different things. You never know what you may come across. You never know what you may create that a client may see and want that same rendition. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you found this helpful. I'll try to create a video where I'm editing this and showing you guys the steps that I take into putting this all together. Hopefully I got some bangers. That's it, man. That's all I got. Thanks for kicking it with me. Thanks for checking out this behind the shot and seeing how I do things. I'll catch y'all on the next one. We out. Peace.